before we dated, I had been in a relationship for almost 7 years.
Wait, 7 years? Investor.
Yeah, so I realized, maybe kuna venye hapa. So I went and prayed about it when I started seeing the signs that he was what he was pulling up. Yeah, so I prayed about it and I felt so much peace.
There's this statement that people always say, there's the one. Do you believe in that? As you guys, do you believe that there's the one?
All right, I believe there is the one you will marry. Now, let me put it like that. I believe there is the one you will marry. I've made mistakes, I've told you, Bahati. And again, I've been raised in a Christian family. After 4 days, this girl I believed I was going to marry. And I used to say that the one. I'm telling you, we moved to Nairobi, my eyes were open. As a young individual, as a young man, vibrant for God, you get to see, my goodness, Kumbe, I was in a cage. There are so many people out there to meet. And that the one fizzled out. And I was like, hey, what happened? And then again, you meet another one and you feel they're the one. You know, and the mistake that most people want to do is put an engagement ring immediately so that you convince yourself.
Because if you look back, those were so many years back.
2008,
you are not even exposed.
At the end of the day. So for me, I believe there is the one you will marry, but there are so many people you can marry.
Okay.
As long as they have the standard, and the standard is very simple. People who have a commitment to grow in God and they want to become better in life.
Amazing. So tell me your dating life. So how long did you guys date?
Actually, everything between dating and our marriage, we took 9 months.
Dating,
courtship, Rodashio, all those traditional things at the wedding.
9 months.
9 months.
As you want to, but why being biblical? You know, 9 months is a term, full term for a baby.
For a baby to be.
So this relationship was actually full term.
It's true.
Full term, yeah. So we took 9 months.
So you guys, by time Baha was asking you out and saying, I'm sure this man looks like those ones who will tell you, by the way, I want to marry you. He'll say, I want to date you, we'll figure out who compare. I'm sure he came directly and tell you we are married. So you guys, in that month of dating, you're also married. So let me ask, do you date to marry or do you marry to date?
Do you date to marry? Do we marry to date?
Or we marry today? Somebody actually one day, I had that conversation with somebody before, and it's an argument because it's a two side of it. Do you marry to date or do you date to marry? And that has become so one of the things in this day and age. Some people are like, hey, we must date. Ndio tuo na ingine nasema no, actually you're dating because you married this guy. I mean you're dating because you're married to date this guy actually. So actually the real dating is marriage, because I think when you go back to our forefathers, and that's even the Bible, back then hakuna kitu kama dating. Ilikuwaga unakuta Isaac, as in you're like, how did God even work? You text or you date. So I think that is like a definition of a marrying to date.
Yes.
And then there's this one whereby 7 years investor. You have spent 7 years you're dating to marry, then you don't marry.
Yeah.
So I wonder, so between the two, I mean, because you guys look like you guys are marrying to date. So I'm marrying to date you. I'm not dating to marry you. I'm marrying to date you.
Yeah, true.
And I think that is the. I think I believe in that.
I think I believe in both.
Because people marry and dating stop.
Yeah.
You get
so they stop knowing one another.
They stop dating those
because the goal of dating was just to get married.
The goal of dating was just to get married. So in a stop. Unasikia? When we were dating, wonders used to happen. Now we're still dating. We wonder what happened because people stopped dating.
The excitement went away.
So personally, I believe I think you marry to date, because dating actually should more like start or should more like continue as actually you've married.
Yeah, true.
And I think yours is that kind of. Do you guys still do coffees like the two of you?
Yeah, we
Yes,
do.
we do.
But you have to be intentional.
You put car aside and you say, hey, it's
You
too
much and
hard.
you money.
Yes.
And then we go. But again, it's a bit tricky kidogo. That's why I'm saying you need to balance and it needs to be intentional. You know, before you get married, you're looking forward to meet this girl. Maybe in campus, or you've not seen her the whole night, or you've spent 2 days, you've not. So there's that kind of excitement of I want to meet this. But when you get married, there's that form of you're getting used to one another. You're in the same house, but again, the way there was passion in the text messaging, nowadays a text food gani. So you need to be intentional.
Yeah,
but
you have
again,
to be intentional.
when you get married, you need to allow one another to be discovered, because you may marry and then try to hide kidogo because you don't want to offend the other person. You don't want to
When you're dating, right?
Yes.
Yeah, when you're dating.
But again, also when you marry, you tend, I don't want to make my wife feel bad, so you reserve some comments. You're not open. And I believe it is during dating that people get open. There are people who are more open when they're dating than when they get married.
When they get married.
Why? Because umekufa nayo, me I want this girl. But when you
But
get
you know, when
inside,
dating comes with that kind of
You
uko, there's a way your mind is clouded, but as much actually you're stupid when you're dating. Hata mtu akwambia that woman, that man is, you're thinking, no, you people, you don't gonna wivu. Me, I'm dating this kind of a guy. So
reality checks in after marriage, actually, because you can hide so much when you're dating before marriage. So when you get into it, that's when the reality comes in, and you need to explore this person, to learn them, to know what they like, what they dislike afresh.
So tell me, in your dating life, what was the one like? Did you guys experience some kind of a challenge in your dating, or your dating was just this heavenly bound? God spoke. Ninywe SGR Mombasa twende 3 hours. We're in Mombasa. Did you guys ever experience any kind of a challenge in your dating life?
most of the challenges were centered around planning
For the wedding.
because our span of dating again was a bit
short.
when you date for long you tend to there are some things that tend to show up.
And actually, I'm always told during the planning for wedding,
Yes.
it's like your first project.
Yeah,
together.
it's your first
exactly.
project.
It can be chaotic. It can be chaotic.
Yeah, most of the challenges were revolving around setting the dates for the wedding, determining when I will take her see my parents, when she'll take me to see her parents. And again, parents have different schedules, and you communicate on the other side, I'm bringing someone,
They
and
think it's too soon.
they just wait a little bit, you've just started the other coursework and all
Anakwambia
that.
nakimbiza mbio.
As in unaenda
When
wapi,
you're
and all these things. So we had to remain steadfast in that. But again, when it came to decisions, I think that is where now the clash of ideas came in. Not primarily on things that involved us, but again things that also involved our folks. Because for us, if we were given the choice, we would have done maybe an outdoor kind of wedding. But my mom, and all that. So again, coming to discuss such things, what happens? You find that I may lean towards my mom so much, or she may lean towards her mom so much. So you find you have to balance.
Yeah, quick one, because I want us to pick conversion forward.
Yes.
Quick one. I mean, and this one we do it. I know our time is moving, but this one we need to talk about it quickly. During your wedding, during your planning for wedding phase, and as you brought up something very interesting.
Yes.
The two of you sit down, you want to get married, you have your plan and everything.
Yes.
You meet your parents, and your parents are there, pop with their ideas.
Yes.
And what perhaps some of them thinking, like they said, I'm going to figure this. Why are you rushing this thing about? Are you pregnant?
It's not even the society, not even my parents.
Yeah, so it starts from pressure from parents.
Yes.
Pressure from society.
Yeah.
Someone big wedding. So how did you guys? How did you? And especially wedding. This is for this. Is for the woman or is for the lady. So how did you manage that pressure, and especially when it came to parents and society?
Okay. For me, my parents are very supportive. They told us, harusi ni yenyu, do it the way you want it.
Wow.
So
parents, for those parents who are watching.
So for me, I didn't struggle much with that because I had support from my folks, from my family. Yeah, so...
Yeah, from my side also, I think my parents were like, you're the one who is marrying, you know, you make the decisions.
You did face the cultural stuff, or you guys, you didn't have struggle with the cultural because both of you are Christians, and you know Christians, some things which are cultural are good, but there are things it's like a no. So did you guys have a struggle in the cultural aspects of those?
From my side, no. I thank God for my dad because he set a standard, and he said, you're the one who loves. You're the one who marries, and I'm going to support you to have that. So from my side, there are no cultural things on my side at all whatsoever that we have.
Besides, there are no cultural
that will bind us. Not that there are no cultures, but my dad chose not to allow culture
from culture
to come in. You know, because he's been raised in that. He knows from a cultural perspective this is what happens when a young man wants to get married. But for him, he said, I want to support you to move forward.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you. Did you have any influences of culture to your wedding?
Well, I'd say because of my parents' support, at least I was able to tell them how we are coming. So now we don't have all the millions to come and pay as dowry. So tunakuja hivi.
With where we are.
Yeah. So we are starting, just support us to start. So they really covered us. They covered us from the external pressures, let me say that.
Because when it comes to even during that direct negotiation, mostly you find it's the uncles who speak. Your parents are where. And those uncles, they come there, my friend, they have come to an ATM. But I love you guys, the kind of support you guys are talking about. Both from your parents supporting, and I'm sure so you guys supported each other. Because again, sometimes always think is about the couple just being of support to each other and supporting her just to be able to make sure it's a success. I think the success of going into marriage during the wedding phase, that season, it is much more dependent on actually the both of you when you have the support for each other. Amazing.
Actually, there was also the church. The church that we were in really supported us in that. Yeah, true. So.
Amazing. You know, this is what we struggle with in this 21st century. This is what we saw in the 21st century. Those are the biggest challenges we face with your parents in this, because sometimes people think then and now, and there's a gap, a mismatch, and they think, for instance, wewe unaelewa saizi inafaa ukue unafanya masters upo na mimba wewe unakimbilia kitu yani hauna kazi, tafuta pesa yako kwanza and what have you. But I'm glad you guys conquered and you guys were able to join together. Amazing couple, guys. Amazing story here that we are just, you know, how these guys dated and how these guys actually navigated through their dating. And we just want to hear now how you guys are now transited from your dating life. You guys got married and we're talking about 5 years, or if this is how you want to look at it. You can say it's 5 years, but it's 4 years and some months, depending how you want to, a couple of months, depending how you want to look at. Actually, it's 5 years and a couple of months. Actually, it depends how you want to look at it. But you guys have been married now for 5 years. Oh, 5 years.
It scares me.
It scares you. And it scares you. Why? Why does it scare you?
It sounds a lot.
A lot? Yeah. Na kuna watu wanasema married for 21 years. In fact, soon you're being a couple here was done 21 years of marriage.
No, like we've just started, yani.
So tell me, how's your marriage been for the last few years? You guys have been in it. How's it been for the two of you? Picking it up, moving from your dating, now you guys are married. Because they would just tell me, how was your first year of marriage, guys?
Hey, I think my wife should talk for her because I'm the one who married her. What kind of a development did I create before I put my own input on that one?
How was your first year of marriage? They say the first year.
It can be dramatic.
So how was your first year of marriage?
Settle down and getting to learn this person, kiwa naye kwa nyumba, seeing their other side, their negative side, their good side there. So, but for me, my first year wasn't that challenging. Was it? I think mostly about. I think the only challenge that I'd say that we fought and
Not physical.
Physical fight. Verbal fight.
Lest Papa shows up.
Tunaambia piga magoti hapa tuanze kuomba saa hizi.
so learning how to communicate with him and how to handle conflicts. That is one of the areas that we are still working out.
How to handle conflict. So between the two of you,
Yeah.
who is the nani ukasirika kabisa kwa hiyo watu wawili?
Yeah.
Now, okay, but who is the strongest? Who is like in terms of personality? Who is the strong personality between the two of you? Or no, we are equal?
No, he's a strong personality.
Utajitetea ukiwa upande. Anakasirikaga.
Niko na Yesu kwa mkono wa kulia. Anyway, you know, people forget being married doesn't mean that there are no challenges. Challenges will always be there.
Yes.
You just have to choose, am I responding to a problem or am I reacting to this particular problem? You know, and sometimes you may feel you've grown, but marriage sometimes tends to show you that you have a long way to go. Because when you're dating, you know, you don't spend time together, you've not probably found the dishes and then you've not washed the house and then someone has passed there with dirty slippers. So you easily love this woman. Oh, she's just perfect. You know, and all that. As I said, you make room. But during the second year, sana, because the first year, I don't...
Look about the honeymoon.
But now the second year again, you know, there is consistent issues that tend to show up. And consistent issues means probably don't leave the water running. But the water has been running for 1 year. You know, don't leave this undone.
Yes.
It has been left undone for almost another 1 year. So you are learning how to communicate, because again you have to realize you've been raised in two different places.
Yes.
The way my dad would respond to us when something was not right was not the same way the dad responded. You know, for us it was this way. You know, this way. You know, it's there's no room for negotiation.
Yes.
Now trying to balance that again in the setup of marriage, because in our home my dad never said anything twice. Like, you've understood and you've run with it.
Yes.
But again, you come in a setup where you feel like, hey, you've been saying this, you're gentle, right? And then you remember another voice telling you, you're the man, put your foot down, you know? So you put your foot down, you break someone's heart. Now you have to do the mending again.
Yes.
So it has been a journey for me personally, just to learn to love this woman. Because you may think you love someone before you marry them, but actually the actual love comes in when the feelings, there is no reason at all. That is when now you know, I cannot say I love her because she has given me many reasons to love her. I still have to love her even when there is no reason at all
to love her.
Okay.
Yeah, so those two small things used to irritate me. Not big things. It's not about she ate 30K or she went and invested wrongly. Small things like, you know, I don't love Mokimo, Wednesday, Mokimo, Friday, you know, as in, come on now.
Let me ask you one more. Is there any, or whatever, Kizungu ilikuja na meli. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to ask, was there a point in your marriage that you ever reached and said, why did I marry you again? It's not like, doesn't mean that you don't love this person. Doesn't mean that you hate this person. Actually, hate is a really strong word. Doesn't mean that you hate them, but you ask, again, why did I marry you again? You ever reached that kind of a point in your marriage?
Yeah. The questions come. Especially during the conflicts and you're wondering, God, what? Yeah, but all the same, it's a decision that I don't regret. I always remind myself that this was, I made this decision out of a sound mind and being led by God. So in as much as those two thoughts will come and you'll question your decision, I still know, and I know without a doubt that I made the best decision for my life to get married to him.
His one and only Bahati. Let me ask, you've been married to Bahati all this while, and being a pastor. I'm trying to pull a pastor card here. And because I'm sure there's someone, but very interesting. Most people, if not all, of course not all, but do you know actually some girls actually one of their dreams is getting married to a pastor. They always look forward to get married to a pastor. How has it been, your journey to get married to a pastor, vis-a-vis what someone thinks, mimi nikipata pastor, I just want to get married to a pastor. So first you chose a pastor, of course you really made a decision. How has it been, your journey in ministry? Because you support the pastor, but you are not, like, both of you are not pastors. He's a pastor and he's a teacher. He's a Mr. Christos. Christos is doing that. How has it been for you?
At least when we got into it, he was already in ministry. So I knew, actually he was already a pastor when we started dating. So I'd say that I was psychologically prepared for it, in as much as before then I didn't see myself. I had never imagined getting married to a pastor. So it wasn't my plan per se. So but I was well prepared for it psychologically. I had made peace with God and told him to just help me with my fears, with all my fears.
So tell us, people want to know this thing. What are some of your fears of getting married to? Or what are your fears, because now already you're married, and some of the fears still continue in your mind? What are some of your fears being married to this pastor?
I think my greatest fear then was lack.
The lack of upkeep. Let's just say it. Kukosa pesa.
Because from tumeona tu pastors the way they struggle, yani tupicha twenye tunatumwa za itakosa kushiwa na viatu and all. So I that was my greatest fear. But I prayed when he started throwing lines and expressing his interest. I prayed and I found peace in making that decision, and God gave me so much assurance that he'd never leave us, he'd never forsake us, and he would always be our source and sustenance. So that kept me going, and that has kept me going till date.
So today, I don't think you'll ask yourself, hey, God, why did you give me a pastor? Pastor, but actually what you're saying is true, and I agree with you too. I agree with you in totality. I mean, I think that making that decision, because one of the things that I know for sure, if you're going to get married, especially to a pastor, and I think you will talk about it, sometimes getting married to a pastor is not like getting married to anyone else in a different career. Every career has its own demands. Doctors have their own demands. Pilots have their own demands. What have you, whatever. But I find to be married to a pastor is a very unique kind of a call, because it's actually, and for me the way I see it, being married to a pastor is actually a call for the wife, or vice versa, depending. If you're the pastor and he's there. I think it's also, the way that God calls you to pastoral, I think is the way God calls your spouse. Because
exactly,
some of your pastor now to your pastor, your pastor, your pastor, and it's amazing. That was a very bold move, and this far 5 years still married to a pastor.
And actually, it's been mostly about managing the internal pressures and the external pressures. Because getting married to a pressure to a pastor.
The pressure. My brother, you are pressure.
To a pastor comes with a lot of external pressures as well. There's a way the society expects you to behave. You minister powerfully like him. You sing powerfully. There's that ideal pastor's wife mwenye ametengenezwa in the society. So for me, I think it's been a time of during those 4 years to understand that we may not have been called in the same way. Mine is to support, but I don't necessarily have to be at the front line, doing all those things that.
Sure, as the posters, Bishop, but you find them funny. I don't find them funny. Bishop, so and so, and Reverend, Pastor so and so, maybe na bwana kwa pastor. So you're okay where you are, just supporting from the back.
Perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine, And my prayer is that I'll be graced to continue supporting in all ways, even financially, to support the ministry financially, whatever the way the Lord enables me to.
But you at some point feel that my wife should be at the forefront with doing ministry, and you feel like, hey, someone in your and you're not supporting him. I don't feel like you're supporting your ministry.
Hey, a while back. Maybe we grow. I say this room.
Yes.
And God allows us to grow so that we can have a perspective that is refined His way. And because remember, when you're surrounded with people who think like that, most of the time you'll find yourself thinking the same way. But as time went by the time the second year was coming in, I realized everyone has a call. Mine is to do it His way, but I'm not bringing my pastorship home. We need to separate those two things. I'm pastor to the body of Christ, but my responsibilities may not be the same to my wife. I'm a husband to my wife, to love her, and so when I get home, I don't get home like Pastor Bahati. I get home as honey pie. And that one brings a lifestyle that is enjoyable.
Yes.
But when you bring ministry at home, it tends to kill passion. It tends to kill a relationship and dating process that is taking place. So every time I get home, that word Pastor Bahati, leave it at the door. When I get home, this is my wife. We are having fellowship and Bible study, and all of us, we are working from. So I'm also supporting her in what God has called her to do. Because most of the time you find pastors tend to want support from the wives more, but are not supporting the wife. So that's the way it is. It has been a good journey.
And now we live in a time, compared to those days. We're not the Levites where people will bring and feed the pastor in church.
True.
The pastor also, and I think as a pastor, you're called, you are man,
true.
and you are called to fend for the family.
Provide for
I
the
wish you
family.
go to the pastors. You have a special.
True.
You have a special. I mean, there's no special space. There's no special farm to go and harvest cash or an ATM for pastors to go and draw. How has it been for you to fend for your family as a pastor? Because being a pastor, sometimes we rely on the move of God. When God said, like Abraham, leave your family, pick and go. Sometimes you have to deny or you have to drop securities for your family. How has it been?
Let me start by saying this. When God calls you, He knows what you need. And I think some of the times the insecurities come in because He's thinking of the lack. And of course, as I say, we are all growing. We're growing to learn to trust God. And there's some steps that the Lord has called us to take. And most of the time, my wife and I have been discussing. And one of the main things that tend to have slowed down our next move was the issue of provision. Provision by itself. So we had to think outside the box because we know, we are being asked to take this step. Now it doesn't mean that He doesn't want us to think about this step. What do? We look around. What do we have? What resources do we have? Do we have land? Can it be tilled? What produce is coming out of the land? Can it be sold? What business opportunities? What business opportunities are there?
Yes.
And it's okay sometimes before the organization or the ministry establishes to find something to do. And it doesn't mean even when the ministry establishes, you may not need to hand that over to someone else. If your wife is into business, they can manage that. We just need to increase the streams of income. And there's so many ways to do that. And I think when I took that step, that is the time my mind also opened up.
Wow.
That you don't have, sometimes we ask God to provide. Well, He's asking you, what have I given you?
Yeah, what do you have in your black Moses? What do you have on your
Exactly.
hands?
So we pray that we say, Lord, open our eyes to see what is around us and what we have that we can use so that we can have streams of income. So right now, we can serve comfortably where the Lord is leading us without thinking how much money probably someone is going to bring in. You see, whether it comes or not, we know the Lord gave us another opportunity where we're able to say, hey, at least we're able to take care of these basic things in a day-to-day.
Amazing. I mean, clearly, it looks like even a pastor's family is not a special family.
Yeah.
It is a normal family.
is
Because
a normal
you guys,
family.
the things you're sharing, man,
Yeah, true.
it's those ones of, you know what, even pastors,
Yeah.
they live here on earth.
Exactly.
We're here together. Their marriage is by marriage. You guys talked about that. You guys had conflict in marriage.
Yeah.
You guys had
Many of
conflict
them.
in marriage. Many of them fighting. And you know, and Bahak, anafikiria, I'm the man here. I need to decide here. And you're there thinking, why did I even marry you again, pastor? You know, or sometimes he has done something and thinking, pastor.
But we used to do that. But we stopped.
Because it is it is. See, when someone says pastor, they don't say it in a nice way.
There's a standard that they are putting, but we realize that may tend to slow down the other person's growth. They may end up shutting and saying, this is the attitude you have to. You have to make room for one another to grow. If someone makes a mistake, don't react. Respond to it. How do
And be patient with one another.
I like what you've said. If someone makes a mistake, you don't react.
You respond
You
to
respond
it.
to it,
But before you learn how to respond, let's just be honest. You'll have made before you get to the place where you say you're mature. For you to learn how to respond, it's because you reacted. You know, and most of the time we've been raised in an environment where people tend to react more than respond. It's all about maji hapo ni uji kiasi gani. If that is the society around you, then you get married. To you it's not a big deal, but to the other person it's killing them slowly. So we took away such kind of comments and we said, hey, I think we may be on a self-destruct mode without knowing. How can we make this happen?
Okay.
You know, yeah.
So wow. Me, I've just liked the point that you've talked about. Is not about reacting, but it's actually about responding.
Yes.
And that responding, it's a journey.
Yes.
It is not you wake up today and you learn how to respond. Out of reactions,
Exactly.
birth a respond.
Respond.
Quick one. In your marriage, you guys when you had like conflict, I know sometimes you guys had conflicts or what other issue. Have you guys ever sought external advice into your marriage, or just pick up?
No, seeking external advice. You don't have to go to a counselor. You don't have to go to a pastor that day, because there may be no time to one.
Or even going both of it, and just be you.
If probably I don't want, or she doesn't want, it may not end up being good. So what do? We have created environments of study, God's word. We make sure we study, and then also we check out videos and clips of people who talk about this, and also review our notes that we went through in Bible school and all these other things, and also spend time with people who are married. So when she's meeting her friends, we have mutual friends. The men are also married. Tunakula nyama mali na supu. And we open up. Tunasema, mama. That's the only time we can call them mama, because they cannot allow them. And then I hear my friend anasema ate inaanzaga tu mmoja ndiye anasema mazee wife ame. Nasema anakumesiko peke yangu. You tend to open up. For them also they open up. You see, so yes,
but I wouldn't say that we've had that kind of conflict that we are not able to resolve ourselves. So.
I had a story that's, I think it's Kitamba, I can't remember even the whatever, but I think what I learned from the story, this person said, I think they had separated like 3 times, take a break, squeeze time out, reward, bro. Anyway, come on, it is that sanity break. Sanity break. So the people text at you, but from what I got from their story, they say they reached a point they realized actually it's the two of us who have a solution. People said you will talk, but the solution is Bahati, I don't know you as a husband. Me, I know you as Baha, and I know you as a husband to this lovely lady. I don't know the two of you. Exactly. The same thing. So there are some things. It doesn't matter if I cancel them. It takes the two to sit down and say, guys, we have to solve our mess in our marriage.
Exactly.
And so and that, I think, for me is a bigger lesson. And sometimes I think before rushing to talk to someone, and the thing also is, if Baha come and tell me something about you, I started developing some opinions.
Yeah,
And
no, that's
perhaps that thing, and as Bahati said, people actually grow. The challenge is sometimes, today, Wambo doesn't know how to do ABCD. 2 years or running on the line, I must have picked a mokimo. And I said, we can now eat something else. You know?
Mokimo.
Yeah, exactly. I have learned how to cook. I have learned how to do this. I can call mokimo. Anyway. So you get.
yeah.
So when this person grows, guess what happens? That person that you told, they still view you.
Exactly.
Their perception has not changed about you. And so, to a point, so you start feeling bad. Why did I share with Steve about it? Because Steve has not embraced the new. And so that sometimes I always think, don't be too quick to run out to share. Also, don't die in yourself and be depressed. But sometimes, and those, what you say, Nyama Choma and ladies, in fact, sometimes I think I need to create Chama. Is it Chama that say